All right.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We are
Hello.
going to call, this is the meeting of Mansfield Sustainability Committee on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank
Let's
you.
call the meeting together to order. Let's see. Let's start with see if there's a motion to approve the January 10th meeting minutes from anyone.
I move to approve the January meeting minutes.
Thank you, Susanna. Do we have a second?
I do. Yes.
Thanks,
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
2, 3, 4. Excellent. Opposed? None. Everyone voted, so it's unanimous. So moved. Great. So let's see. We have Power Smart campaign. We have some event planning to do, right?
Yeah, so you've all gotten the flyer for next Thursday's virtual program, which will be put on by Green Bank. So it'll be a little bit of a different angle, I think, my understanding, from the December 13th program that we did at the town hall. So you can register from that flyer. Just a note, the link that is at the bottom of that flyer, in the link it says insert town. So that should be Mansfield. You know, Mansfield has its own Power Smart page. And I don't have the capability of changing PDFs like that. So yeah, anyhow, just but okay, so at the last meeting, the committee had talked about doing tours. And so there were some folks that were gonna check in with people they knew who had battery backup to see if they'd open their homes either virtually or in person. So that's one thing to plan. The other one was testimonials to put on that web page. And then
So-
there's the farmer's market, you know, does somebody want to go to the farmer's market? There's a Earth Day event that's coming up. So there are different things potential.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so I think some people did some connecting with folks in the community. I know there were some emails going back and forth. I don't know if the whole committee was on it, but I found a friend who's got solar and battery and willing to I think do tour and testimonial. I just didn't know what to tell him after he said yes. And it seemed like Peter had, I think you said Paul Aho would be willing, right? So my friend is named Paul Lewis. And they're on Ravine Road, so not too far from Paul Aho's. Yeah, so how do we want to proceed with our potential people? Is would like Power Smart be involved in this, in interviewing them or whatever, or do we just want to say email me a sentence about what you like about your system? Like, what are we looking for the written test?
For the testimonial,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Patrice had indicated if they could do something on their phone
Oh,
as an MP4 and then just send it to her. Did anybody else get that during our discussion?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I
in
can't remember the
January?
meeting I had yesterday, but I think that, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they would be open to having written testimony as well as video or audio.
Yeah, maybe if you want to check to see what kind of form he would do a testimonial, whether it's written or
Yeah, I
yeah.
think my person would be willing to do whatever. I feel like I just need to give him instruction. You know, could you do this in writing or 5 seconds on your phone, whatever it is, by a certain time? Do we want to prioritize? We'd rather ask him to give a tour if, yeah, and when might the tours be? Maybe what we need is like, here's some options of how we'd like to share your experience with solar with other people in town. One, planning some house tours, probably be like the weeks of X to Y. Would you be interested in that? Two, written testimonials. You could just email something. Three, a verbal testimonial that you record on your phone. You're willing to do one or all three. This is how you do them. Because my first inquiry was pretty loose, and then again, I just didn't know exactly what to follow up with. And do we have any other possibilities besides Paul Aho and Paul Lewis? Did you remember in those emails, Ginny? Did you hear from anyone else?
No. And like Susanna, I did, you know what? I haven't read the minutes recently. This is kind of embarrassing, but the minutes wouldn't reflect this. No, I think it was Peter and you that had success in finding finding people, but I thought Peter found another person besides Paul Aho.
Okay. Yeah. And then it said, the minutes say Lisi, Millman, and Stoddard work on getting testimonials. So
Okay.
maybe, Matt, did you find, talk to anyone who was interested that you know who has solar and battery in town? Or can you hear us yet?
Yeah, no, I'm fighting with the stupid internet. I talked to the guy, but he doesn't have battery. He has just solar.
Oh.
And he looked into trying to get the battery through that program. I sent him all the information, but I guess he didn't qualify, unfortunately, for our Power Smart. So yeah, I'm kind of out of people. After that, he was
No,
the one
thanks for
I thought
asking.
was gonna work.
Okay. Okay. And hello, Josh. Well, I'm happy to craft an email and send it to my contact and share it with Peter. If we want to get interest in tours, I forget, do we have a timeline for this campaign?
It ends in May. So do you think March would be too early to, a couple weeks in March into the beginning of April, maybe?
Okay. And are we looking to have multiple tours on one day, like 2 houses, or had we thought that far ahead?
Maybe it depends on Paul and Paul's Paul's availability. I mean, it might be nice to have it over 2 different weekend days. In the
Mhm.
event that somebody is, might be busy one day, but not the other day.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, that's my
And do we
thought.
want the, is it just the homeowner, or will there be someone from Power Smart or our team to answer questions for people about if they wanted to do it, or do we want to get an installer? I wonder,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not, I'm just throwing questions out there, so we can kind of plan it. I wonder if Patrice and Bob Wall have a kind of a template that's worked that um they might want to advise us on.
Yeah.
A quick question, do we have an email list from all the folks that came to the first event, the in-person event? Did they have to sign up or?
Um,
They did have to sign up. Patrice was upset that it didn't make it all the way around the room, but we have a fair number of emails on it. And I think Patrice has a list.
Okay, that's
yeah,
great.
so,
Let's
so
do it.
we should send out a notice directly to those folks.
Mhm.
Um, well, the other question is, do you schedule a tour, like if you want to take a tour, there's a tour available on March 13th at 10 a.m.
Mhm.
Like, have it actually, you show up at this time, take a tour, or is it more like an open house where from 10 to 12 you can stop in and check out the solar installation, I
Yeah.
mean the battery installation? So, and that might be driven by what Paul and Paul would prefer.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Okay. Well, does anyone have thoughts on that, or I don't know how, like, we could just say, see if they're available in the last 2 weekends in March or something like that, and see we can land one spot for each of them. Yeah.
So the questions are, would someone from PowerSmart be available, or
Yeah, I think it would be good, especially since the incentives have changed just this year. So, you know, Paul Aho was saying, oh, I wish they'd had that, uh, the extra money. So I don't know if, you know, I think it'd be easier on the homeowner if we're not asking them to represent everything. Just like, what was your experience like? And show us.
yeah,
Um,
and maybe, although I don't know, like if somebody from the sustainability committee were present, like how that would add to a resident's experience, other than showing that a town committee is supportive of this. I'm not sure whether that would be necessary.
mhm.
Um,
I mean, we could at least be there for support, like parking or something like that, greeting people or whatever,
yeah,
especially if it's like a come between these hours. Um, yeah. Yeah, I feel like maybe checking in with Patrice and Bob on their suggestions, their availability, formats they've seen work, that kind of thing.
Okay,
could be helpful.
okay, and then get back to you and Peter with suggestions then of time,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
or do you want me to reach out to them?
To Patrice and Bob?
Yeah.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, if I can do it, but if you want to, that's fine.
If you wanted, that'd be great, Ginny.
Yeah, I'll contact them.
Awesome,
Okay,
thank you.
all right.
Okay, so we talked about tour testimonials. I guess, yeah, if there's anything they have to add on testimonials as well. They manage the web page, so they could upload audio things. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything about how long it should be or whatever?
Okay. All right, I'll contact them tomorrow.
Okay.
And so if if there was something happening in the end of March, then this committee would be meeting before then, just to kind of tie things together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I think we mentioned farmers market. Do we want to do something at a farmer's market? One of the first ones? We want to start planning that out. What do people think?
Honestly, I feel like I'd be happy to like help with parking or things like that, but I can't speak knowledgeably to any of these pieces other than just like the information that you all have shared and that we've heard. But so I don't know that I would be a good resource for anything except for telling people where to go.
Mm,
I could do that.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel
not
like
sure
that
that
is the tricky part of this.
What's that?
I think that is the tricky part of this. None of us are feeling like we can fully explain
Right.
enough
yeah.
about the incentives or whatever. But I guess farmers market, if there's something we can hand out, that's pretty easy.
Sure. I could hand something out.
And maybe just a general explanation of what it is, it's a battery backup installation and there are incentives associated with it.
I could say that.
Yeah. One,
Find
so
out.
I've had some people contact me, and they've asked, they said that they've heard Mansfield's doing this special program. And I've had to explain that we're campaigning, we're promoting a program that already exists and will exist after we're done promoting it.
Mhm.
So we're just shining a spotlight on what Eversource and the Green Bank are offering to residents. So that's also something to, be clear about. This isn't Mansfield special, we're not offering the incentives.
We're not giving people an extra special deal.
Right. It's through Eversource. So at least that's my understanding. Please correct me, anybody, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, we're not doing anything more than that.
Yeah, yeah. So Susanna, you would avail yourself for part of a farmer's market?
I can help, yeah, sure. There's a farmer's market that works. I could hand stuff out if we have materials.
Okay,
And we're talking about like an indoor one at the library sometime.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those go through April,
Okay.
the indoor ones, so.
I can't volunteer for anything right now. My time's not my own. But later on, I'll try to help out more.
Yeah, no worries, Katie.
Yeah.
No worries, volunteering. Okay. All right. I think we got a little direction going on Power Smart. Anything else on that agenda item?
Well, while we're talking about it, there is going to be a small, I don't know if it's being called an Earth Day event. This is actually not, this is the second to next agenda item, but we can take, the items in sequence, or I can just talk about that as a possible venue for Power Smart,
What's about the Earth Day thing?
Okay, it's going to be at the Mansfield Community Center on April 27th. That's a Saturday from 9 to 12. And it's going to coincide with the Mansfield Tag Sale, which is in their gymnasium, I believe. So, it's passing on usable goods. So that's kind of an Earth Day theme. And would the Sustainability Committee like to have a table there? I did reach out to Shimei. Shimei, who works for Earthlight Technologies. She's their solar installer. Because she had asked if there's an Earth Day event. So I did let her know. I haven't gotten a response from her, but maybe installer would be interested in being there. Maybe it'd be nice to have somebody from the Sustainability Committee there as well.
Mhm.
So anyhow, I put that out there as a possibility for getting the word out.
Yeah, that seems like an easy thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, if an installer's there, it doesn't really require somebody from the committee to be there, right? I mean, not necessarily, or okay.
Yeah, what do people think about the Earth Day potential?
Sounds like a good place for us to be. If one of us can pull it off. I mean, is it the whole day or is it just a couple
9
hours?
to noon, it's 3 hours. Yeah,
Maybe we could, if folks are able, maybe we could split up into some shifts or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet we could manage, well, so Shimei might be at our table if she can come. Is that what you're thinking, Ginny?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I bet between her and our committee, we could get 9 to 12 covered. So I think it would be nice to have a table.
okay.
Mhm.
Great,
We got 2 more meetings to recruit people.
okay.
April seems a long time away.
And it's
Yeah.
really not, though, isn't
No,
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
Great.
sure I could do an hour session for that, and my wife could have the kids on the playground there. That's always a nice two birds in one stone situation.
Yeah.
True,
Great. Yeah, okay, thank you, Josh.
Josh. Okay, good. So,
I'll get in touch with Shimei. I'll see, if she's available on that day.
okay, awesome.
Okay,
Yeah, so I guess whatever handout information, not to get too paper heavy, but anything we want to give people about finding out more about the solar and battery incentives, we could have, a 1-pager for Earth Day, for the house tours, for the farmer's market, whatever. And yeah, Power Smart probably has a 1-pager, right? That directs people to where to look up installers and find out more.
Do we have stuff from the campaign already? Is there some materials that they have for us?
Just what's online, like the flyer for December 13th was online. I think that's been taken down. And now
Okay.
the one for next Thursday, February 22nd, the virtual one. But Patrice said she could provide some information as handouts. So,
Yeah, let's just get her to send us stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
okay.
All right, so are we on to agenda item number 4? Sustainable CT.
Yeah, so some of you may recall that back in July, Lena had gone through the committees in town, and the ones that seemed relevant to sustainable CT, she wrote down, she went through their minutes and matched up where the possible actions that committees are taking would match with sustainable CT actions. So next year, the town's going to be applying for sustainable CT and striving for the gold, which is,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, that's a big ask.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's what Lena did. And then I brought it to a staff person at Sustainable CT to go through Lena's list and see, you know, whether things do match up and whether they had any input. And Dorothy from Sustainable CT just did a marvelous job. She made it so easy, identifying actions that committees are working on that could potentially be worthy of points. So I have contacted the staff people in these for these committees and have just kind of cut and paste what Dorothy did and said, what, you know, are you working on these things? Do you see the connection based on the information Dorothy sent that, you know, do you have the capacity to put information forward for these actions? So I have gotten some responses, and the committees that I've contacted are the Affordable Housing Committee, Ag Committee, Arts Advisory Committee, Conservation Commission, Downtown Partnership, the Board of Education, Economic Development Commission, Human Rights Commission, Human Services Advisory Committee, Parks and Natural Resources Commission, Transportation Advisory Committee, and Youth Services Advisory Board. And I haven't gotten responses from everybody, but from most of them. So I'm kind of though, okay, so I've gotten some responses. I guess I need to have some kind of spreadsheet with like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of lost now. Do I ask them to tell me, like, I don't think they'll know, like, how many possible points you think you could get off of these actions? I'm not sure what makes the most sense with next steps, and would love input from the committee because we've been through this now 2 other times. And I think Lynn is stepping back because, of conflict of interest. So really relies on the rest of you to give some feedback.
Ginny, I know you and I met to talk about school stuff, and thank you for following up with Peter Dart about all of that. And so it sounds like they're working on the documentation piece, right? We need to describe what we're doing and,
Yeah, I did get some feedback actually today from Candace Morel. Um, and she, you know, she responded to the excerpts of the actions. I think there could be those, and maybe I need to sit down and meet with her to really just delve into the actions. I think it really needs to be developed.
Mm,
Eh, because the description of the action is one thing, but like what specifically is being asked and what do you need to submit? I mean, there's detail to this. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want to, like, if you want to help with that, Susanna, or I just set up a time to meet with her and
yeah, I mean, if it works, my schedule's kind of crazy, but like, I'm happy to, if it works, I don't want to hold things up, but I also, if I can be helpful with any of those pieces. Yeah,
okay.
I know. Yeah, Ginny, it's like writing a dissertation, it seems like, with points. So, yeah, how
It-
you sort of go about tackling the huge like, it seems like you've gotten a great first step, but like, then like now what next directions to go in and which pieces to start tackling seems hard.
yeah, it's like not knowing um really how many points will, if these committees do what you know, Dorothy highlighted and Lena started with highlighting, then where's the deficits? I think yeah. So when, Lynn, when do you have interns
It
coming
will
in?
be, the fellows will be starting like the last week of May.
Okay.
Um,
And and will they, so they would be available
mhm.
to answer some of these questions, right? That
Yeah.
I'm bringing up.
Yep.
They could see where, and maybe follow up with some staff people or with me that I would follow up with staff people, like, would they actually, would their role be as intense as the role of the interns that we've hired in the past? I mean, could it be as intense as that, where they're interacting with staff members?
Well, they're gonna be working with many towns, each of them, so
Right.
probably not as much intense as interns you've had with the town.
Yeah.
Um, I think they could provide some support. Maybe yeah, maybe
I'm
there's
happy to also try to support it. Just I may have to like set up a call with you, Jenny, to talk through it a little bit. Tonight's a little chaotic, so it's hard to um, hear exactly what we need to do. But I'd be happy to chat, offline and see if there's something I can help contribute to as well.
Okay, thanks, Josh. When are you, I know you said you're pretty tied up, but when are you most available? I mean, would you be available during a work day or are you thinking after work?
I can. I'm if I'm not in a meeting for work, I have a pretty flexible work day, so I could definitely make work hours work around. Typically around lunchtime is pretty good.
Okay. All right, I'll email you about that then.
yeah, Ginny, I was thinking maybe I know we looked at Lena's spreadsheet once before, but maybe at this point it's kind of getting a match between someone on the committee perhaps and some of these other committees like ag and economic development and whatnot, and becoming familiar with what the committee's doing, what the actions are related to that committee, and just kind of having conversations. Like maybe our committee could have different, Susanna could work a little bit with the Board of Ed, or be a support person, Josh with, whatever else, and we could just begin to parse it out a little bit in the different areas of that our folks are interested in too. Hey, Katie. Go ahead.
I don't know if I had said this before, but I did get an outline of some deconstruction stuff, regulations, and they have been submitted to the regulatory committee of the P&Z. So, and they're working on it. They've been working on a lot of different stuff right now. They've been kind of busy with other big events going on, housing and everything. But they do meet once a month, and Jennifer has assured me that if anything comes up, she'll let me know. But it's in their court right now, and I will still keep after her and planning and zoning on those regulations.
Okay.
That's great. Thanks, Katie.
And that might be, I don't know if the regulations themselves would be like worthy of points, but possibly actions, things that result from that could, and maybe it would be the other category, like the last category, which is if it's not covered in these other categories, then yeah. So
Yeah, I think it could fall under that.
yeah, and there is going to be a deconstruction subcommittee meeting the end of February. And Susanna, yeah, just for clarification, are you interested in being part of that, or
I'm so sorry. I have missed a couple meetings. I think you should probably take me off the list for deconstruction. I
All right.
apologize. I'm sorry. I was very excited about it at first, and I'm still excited about it, but I've missed enough meetings that I think it doesn't make sense for me to continue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure the last time we
Okay.
talked
I'm
whether
sorry.
it-
I
whether
should
you
have
were
sent you a note about that. Yeah.
saying you wanted to be taken off. So okay. So anyhow, there's going to be a meeting, and and I have things to report in that meeting. So that's good. I've actually done what I said I would do a long time ago. So there may be hope for some movement on this. Yeah. So anyhow.
So what do you think about maybe at the March meeting? Ginny, I'd be happy to maybe look at the notes you have, and Lena's spreadsheet, and we could just talk about maybe how, and just an approach to work with the other committees and whatnot. You and I could do that before the next meeting if you want.
Okay. All right. Great.
And Mansfield's intending to submit in the spring or summer of 2025, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
I thought it was only one time, like August is the submission date. Is that correct, or is it,
August date, and there's an April date.
isn't
which
the
was-
April date just for kind of a, let's see how close you are?
Yeah, a lot of towns use it that way, but some towns actually get certified in April.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it's just a year between now and when we're intending to submit, right? A year.
Yeah, yeah. So probably, probably we'd be asking the town manager if we could hire an intern again
Mhm.
next spring.
Yeah.
Well, like this time, you know,
Right.
the spring semester to work on the application.
Or even like one of the fellows that goes to UConn, hiring them right after they've worked all summer. In the first, whatever, yeah, first or second semester, but
Oh, okay. This summer's fellow, seeing if they'd be available to be hired in the spring or winter.
yeah, like September to whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I forget, does Mansfield pay interns?
We did, yeah. Yeah. So I'd have to talk to the town manager to see if money's available. It didn't come, this is something that did not come out of the solid waste fund. It was out of the, I guess, a fund that, part of the general fund from the manager's office. So. But yeah, I think that's the only way. I mean, the interns, they're just so snappy on on the the application.
Right.
They're just really quick about it and familiar with it, and it just takes them no time at all. So
So yeah, maybe whenever you put requests in, but I would say ask Ryan for someone in the fall. Kind of
Okay.
the sooner you get rolling on it, they will have just completed the fellowship, they'll be fully trained, kind of keep that momentum going.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's probably a really great idea because there might be gaps,
Mhm.
and then that
Yeah.
gives we staff people time to um, yeah, work on what is
Yep.
missing.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Anything else on sustainable CT? All right. Do we have other business? All right. I don't know, Ginny, is there anything else? Or are we gonna get out early on Valentine's Day?
Lynn, is the installer person still in your basement?
I don't hear him.
No.
I think they might be gone.
Okay.
But part of that had to do with my husband likes to ask a lot of questions and he was getting
Got
him to download the app.
Ah,
Yeah, apparently we got in a little bit of electricity.
so I will say before you leave that Josh, Matt, Peter, and Lena have all been up or will be up for reappointment in April, and all of them have said that they are willing to and interested in serving on the committee. So
Yay.
That's great.
Hey,
Thank you.
Very good, very good.
thank you.
yeah.
Good. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we are good. If no one has anything else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's all we need, I think.
Good.